In this video, we're going to show you our distribution control center application and how it can be a good fit for your business central environment. Now, we are going to start with who this is for typically and why distribution control center. So naturally, our demographic lately has been smaller warehouses, typically 20 to 30 million on the high side in revenue, and about 10 to 15 pickers in the warehouse is a general rule of thumb. Now, that's not a hard and fast rule, just what we're seeing with our client demographic recently. They also typically don't have a ton of complexities or custom workflows in their WMS. And we are eliminating the need for warehouse documents, which sometimes we can find to be overly complicated and take a lot of extra steps and clicks, right? So what we've aimed to do here is streamline the sales order, pick, pack, ship process in order to save time. We do still control when the warehouse gets things, although we try to make it a bit more easy than using the warehouse documents and all the custom kind of like workflows and other things that you may find in other tools. The main benefit being here that you can get up and running very quickly, usually within 10 to 15 hours. As we know, other tools can take weeks or even months to set up. And it's very easy to use, understand, and kind of train others to work in it on a day-to-day basis. So we will get into that in a second. If you're good with following our best practice out-of-box approach, we think that Distribution Control Center is for you. So with that, we are going to jump into the setup. All right, so getting into the setup, I'm going to go into the DCC, the Distribution Control Center setup. And in here, we're going to see a handful of different things. So the first thing that I'm going to point out is you do need to activate the Distribution Control Center. Now, activating it will enable all of our custom fields throughout the system and allow you to follow our kind of best practice approach in terms of that workflow. The next thing is the auto release to warehouse. Now, what this is going to do is when your sales order is released, it's automatically going to send the needed information out to the warehouse automatically. This kind of helps replicate that warehouse document workflow that we were talking about earlier, however, eliminates the need for those warehouse documents to make things more streamlined. This also controls when things get sent to the warehouse for fulfillment. And a good question kind of to typically ask yourself or your client is there a delay between releasing the sales order and actually sending it to the warehouse? If there is, you can turn this off. If there's not, then we would highly recommend turning it on. Most of our clients have this turned on. When the sales order is released, it automatically goes to the DCC window. That's essentially going to be what the warehouse is working off of. So those are the first two things you need up here in the General tab to get started. The next thing we will move to is the picking and the packing. So again, this is trying to streamline the warehouse document functionality that we talked about before by essentially eliminating it and using our out-of-box workflow. So the question to ask yourself here is, do you pick one order at a time, or are you going to be picking multiple orders at a time? That's going to come in handy in this pick, batch, print option. If I click the drop down here, we've got a handful of options. The first is each order separately. This is basically just going to treat each pick as a batch of one order. You're going to print the pick ticket. You're going to go pick everything for that one individual order and either pack it on the spot or bring it back and pack it. That's the first option. The second is the master ticket and each order. What this is going to do is it's going to be a combined ticket for multiple orders at the same time. Your pick ticket's going to show the location bin sequence. You're going to go through the warehouse very efficiently. You're going to do one pass to pick multiple orders, and you can pack them all up at the same time, which we'll talk about in a second, or you can bring them back and pack them up at your shipping station. This is a very common practice and one of the most popular options. And then the last is this master ticket only. That's just going to show you everything that you've got to go pick. You're going to go through the warehouse, pick it all, and then bring it back later for the packing and the shipping stages. So that's a few of the options on how you're actually physically walking through the warehouse and picking either one order or multiple orders at a time. The next option we're going to have here is tracking the package number on the pick. Do you want to pick and pack at the same time? If so, turn this on. If you pick everything and stage it and pack it at a shipping station later, leave this off. If you turn this on, when you get a packing slip per package, you'd bring the boxes with you kind of on your cart, pack them all up on the fly as you pick, and then everything's good to go when you get done. So again, just turn that on if you're going to be packing as you pick, turn it off if you're going to pack everything up later. This next option for batch ticket location, basically, where do you want it to direct that you pick from? Do you want it to direct that you go pick off the shelf number that's located on the item card? Do you want to pick by the default bin code from the item bin contents? Or do you want it to look at where you have the oldest inventory from your item ledger entries and go have you pick that or those items from that location, right? So this is just where are you going to pick from, what's going to print out on that pick slip that you're going to be working off of. This next piece is very crucial. So this is the short pick notification. If your inventory is typically not accurate, this could be a huge key feature that can save you both some time and some troubles down the road. So we go to pick, but there's not enough there. The picker clicks a button. It's going to notify the email for the short pick email down here. And that's key to running an efficient warehouse and identifying discrepancies as soon as possible and letting someone know about it. So not only do you want to let someone know about it, but likely you want to take action on that. So that's going to be up top here. Create cycle count task on short pick and assign the user for that cycle count. So kind of going off those previous point, first we notice it, then we act upon it. What this is going to do is this is going to generate an ad hoc cycle count for the ad hoc counter to go count, and then you can make your adjustments accordingly from there. So again, notifying the short pick, the picker goes out, they notice that, hey, it says that I need 10 for this box. It says that there's 10 here, but really there's only 1 or 2, or maybe there's nothing there, right? Notify somebody, then go create that one-off cycle count in order to kind of complete that process. And then the last thing here under this pick and pack section is going to be print pack list on pick completion. So some people want a separate packing list to go in the box, not just the pick ticket that we looked at, can get dirty, crumpled up, ripped, beat up, whatever. If you want your separate packing slip, you can print it immediately upon completion of your picking. So picking gets done, then you print the pack slip. It goes in the box, all fancy, all that fun stuff. Again, that's for companies that want the separate pack slip as opposed to just the pick list. Once the pick's complete, all of that's going to be taken care of for you automatically. And then we can also put a memo that goes at the bottom of your packing slip. So if you want some additional details, somebody picks and then this packing slip prints out. All of that, is going to say thanks for your business. All orders have 30-day money back guarantee. You just put whatever you want in there, and that's what's going to print on the packing slip that you're going to put in the box. So that's it for picking and packing. The next thing we're going to focus on is these 2 options under the receiving section. So the 2 options under this receiving tab are how do we want to put away and how do we want to post. So under the receive put away option, we've got a few different options here. So you can receive it and do nothing. You can receive it and have a pop-up direct you where to put it, or you can print a report and someone can put it away later. So really all of this depends on your put away process. If you have different people that receive versus put away, you may print it and print the report and do it later. If you have somebody that's receiving and then immediately putting it away, you could just show the put away page. It could pop up on your tablet, and after you receive it, you could just walk it over to the shelf it needs to go on and put away. So this goal here is to make the job for receivers easier and kind of, again, separate that from the purchase order screen, similar to warehouse documents, but again, making it much, much easier. The receive posting option over here pretty much just asks us, do you want to invoice when you receive or just receive only? I'm going to do receive only for the demo today. But again, if you wanted to invoice it at the same time that you received it, if that's okay with your organization, then you could turn on that receive and invoice option as well. The next thing we have here is the inventory moves, and then finally the map option. So we'll start with inventory moves. Just toggle this on if you want to show the bin on the inventory moves. Pretty self-explanatory here when doing inventory movements. Do you want to show that or not? It depends if you're tracking bins or not. If you do track bins, turn it on. If you don't, leave it off. Pretty self-explanatory there. And then the final piece is this map option. So we have some map integrations. If you want to enable those, we've got some steps in the setup that show you how to create your Google Map API key. Just copy and paste that in here, and you should be good to go. So that kind of sums it up for the actual configuration within Distribution Control Center. The last thing to point out is you do need to come up here and go into DCC user setup. You can set up your different users here that will be using distribution control center. You can assign them to be pickers. You can assign them to do cycle counts, and then assign them a cycle count batch name, all that fun stuff. Again, if these people fall under that criteria, add them in here, and then you can just close out of that. And if you haven't already, generate your demo key. That will update this activation tab down here. And once you're ready for the full version, reach out to us or your partner and enter the activation key that we will provide. And that will allow you to use the license longer than just your 30-day demo. So with that, we are going to actually jump into the user walkthrough. Everything on this walkthrough is going to focus around the sales order, the picking, the packing, and the shipping. We will have additional videos that dive deeper into some more of the purchasing things and more of the other kind of day-to-day inventory move and cycle counts. So with that, we will jump over to our sales order. All right, so we're going to come into our sales order. Let's just create a new one here. And just going to fill this out. I've got a pop-up note coming from another one of our extensions. I'll just put a test 1, 2, 3, 4 in there. And then let's start to fill out our actual sales order lines. Let's do it in Dallas. Let's do one of these. Let's create another line. Keyboard, Dallas as well. One of those. All right, perfect. So now we have filled out, oh, this needs a price. Let's just do $50. Okay, so we filled it out, and now what I'm actually going to do is, that's pretty much it in terms of filling out the lines. I'm actually going to go ahead and release this to the warehouse, or I'm actually going to release just the sales order. And because we had that auto release to warehouse turned on, it's going to automatically release this to the warehouse. Watch these fields down here. We've got our distribution control center fields, those custom fields enabled. And when I go release, it's going to automatically release it to the warehouse. We also see our status, typically, released there, released to warehouse, went left to right, turn that on, and our process status is available. What available is saying is that basically both of these items that we've released now to the warehouse are available to be fulfilled. So with that, I'm going to jump over, let's jump to a new tab, and let's go into our distribution control center for the first time. Now we've done all that fun setup. Now we're actually going to show you this in action. So what we see now is the distribution control center. We see that the process status is available. We see that sales order number, the number of lines we can see here. We've got 2 lines. We've got 1017 and 1021, the external document number, and all of that good stuff. If I come back in here and I reopen this, you'll notice it unreleases it from the warehouse. The process status goes back to open. If I come back in here and just do an F5, it disappears from my distribution control center because there's nothing for the warehouse to work on. Now, if I came in here and maybe for some reason did the keyboard from Tampa and I re-release it, it's going to go back to release to warehouse. And if I come in here, you'll notice that the items short, this is something that I want to highlight. We can see that on item 1021, we're 1 short because we don't have any available inventory at our warehouse in Tampa. So I'm going to just come back here. Just want to show that as an example. I'm going to reopen this again, put it back to Dallas. Just wanted to show that availability short. And I'm going to go ahead and re-release this out to the warehouse. So again, it's been released. The process status again is available, and the order priority is normal. Now I can update this to indicate to the warehouse maybe something needs to ship today. It's urgent, priority, normal. This is also how it will be filtered when we go into the distribution control center window back over here. So let's say I reopen it and go must ship today, and I release it back to the warehouse. What this is going to do now, let's go F5 refresh. It's going to highlight it, right? So we see that the process status again is available, shows me down here what order lines I have, and the order priorities must ship today. Again, it has all of my other information here. Let's come back out. I clicked into it, which would pop it up, but you can see your additional information over here like we had talked about. So with that is kind of the general overview of just how to start processing your sales order, get some items on those lines, and then see it in the distribution control center. One more thing I do want to show on that short. I'm going to reopen this real quick just for that. So let's go back to Tampa here. I'm going to re-release this. All right, let's jump back here. It's going to say that item short again, 1021. One of the other things I can also do that I forgot to mention is you can put it on or off hold. In this case, maybe I've got the inventory issue because I don't have enough in stock, and then we'll actually put that on hold and give you that reason. If I come back in here and refresh that, you'll see now that the process status is on hold. This is a way also to keep kind of your customer service team or the people entering the sales orders in sync with the warehouse, because again, the warehouse was the one who updated that hold reason, and now customer service is seeing that. Again, maybe once that's done, I can come back in here, take it off hold, click yes, and then I'm good to go. If I come back in here and refresh that, again, it will update it to available. Still needs to be shipped today, but now my distribution folks in the DCC can come back in here and start to process the order. So now let's jump back to that pick. So this order is ready to go and it needs to go out today. So let's pick it, right? So I'm going to come up here, click pick, and I'm going to go create pick batch. Now what this is going to do is going to say, okay, who's going to go pick it? It's kind of filtering that down, as you can see here, to who's assigned as pickers. So I can either do myself or Carly. I'm going to pick myself here for this demo. Click OK. And now what it did up here up top is it created that sales order pick ticket. Now what you'll see on this pick ticket is the two items that I need to pick. I've got 1017, 1021, both items that were on my order. I had the default saying go take the location off of the item card. So it's showing me that the surface is going to be on A17, the keyboard's going to be on A18. I need one of each. They would just simply print this out or pop it open on their tablet and they'd go pick one of each. And again, depending on some of the other options, if we had pack while pick, you could bring the box with you, pack it at the same time. In this case, we're just doing one order. So you can do either that or bring it back to your shipping station and go from there. So that is the kind of walk through here on the pick tickets, and we will go back and assume that we picked it. And now we'll go ahead and jump back to the sales order real quick. And you can see the process status updated to being picked. So warehouse is picking, they've got somebody out there walking around, going and picking those batches, and it's updating the status for us so that customer service can see as well. Now let's assume that we have picked everything and now we need to go ahead and pack it. So let's come up to this pack option. Again, we could have done those both at the same time, as I mentioned, if you had pick and pack turned on, but what we're going to do for the sake of the demo today is just do them separately. We've now picked everything. They've been marked off and now we're going to pack it. So select the order again, click pack and click pack order. Now what this is going to do is it is going to pop open our pack sales order page, and we can see that we don't have any packages yet or anything like that, but I have my two lines. So I could come up here and just say auto pack. Are you sure you want to do it? Yes. And what this is going to do is it's going to create one package for us, and it shows down here both of our lines. Now if I wanted to see the package content, I could click up here. I can see that we've got lines 10,000, 20,000, both of these items. They're both packed up in package number 1003. Now, if for some reason I wanted to do multiple packages here, I could just create another package. I don't have to do the auto pack. So I could come down here, have 1003 and 1004. And let's say I want to come down here and let's delete under the package content. Let's delete this item. Let's delete that content. Click yes. So now you can see item 1021 isn't in anything. I can come back to this package 1004 and I can either put it in this package manually, or if you have scan guns, which we haven't talked about much yet, but if you've got the scan guns, you could actually scan contents in, right? So you could scan, put it in the box, scan, put it in the box. I'm going to scan this content and just simulate it by going 1021 and clicking enter. That would simulate a scan, and now I've got two packages. I've got 1017 in package 1003, and I've got item 1021 now in package 1004. So if I close that again, now both of these items are packed into two different packages. If I click on the package content, again, I can see everything that I've got on this order. I can see 1017's in package 1003, and item 1021, that keyboard, is in package 1004. So again, this just all depends on how you're packing. If you want everything to go in one box, which is a very common scenario, I'd say, you can just come back up here and go to auto pack. But if you do have multiple items that go in multiple different packages, you can always create those packages manually and either scan things or manually kind of put them into the package that they need to be in. Now, if you need to get more granular, you can add in the package type, the pallet number, the container. If you've got multiple pallets in a container, you can start to build out some of those scenarios. And then you can also put in the package tracking number here. If you're using our ShipRush integration, which is another tool that I'll link, all of the packing tracking information and all this other stuff like the freight cost and freight charges and things like that can be pulled in automatically. If you're using a third party that's not directly integrated, then you would just have to come in here and kind of manually fill that out. So once all of that's been done, you've either auto-packed or created the packages, reviewed the existing packages and their contents, you should be good to go here. You can print the packing list if that's something that you need. And then it's going to say, do you want to complete packing of this order? So in a perfect world, you'd come here, print this out, put this in your box. You also see our comment down here at the bottom that we went through in our setup. So simply go ahead and print that. And then you can come back in here and say, yes, I am good to go. I've packed the order, and now you can see in Distribution Control Center that the process status is packed. Everything else in there should be good to go, and we can come back out to our sales order here and finish it out, right? So we can come in here and go ahead and do F5 real quick. You can see that it's been packed, and we can go ahead and post this. So this would be the last piece. Again, if you were using our ShipRush integration, you can go through the ShipRush commands here. If you're using anything else, you can just fill those out manually. So this final step, again, would just be shipping and invoicing this whole thing. And then you are good to go. So you can check out the posted invoices if you'd like. Looks like I had a prepayment on this one from our advanced prepayments tool. And then if I come back out here to the Distribution Control Center, it disappears there. So again, that is the first episode of our Distribution Control Center walkthrough. We've gone through the basic setup and then pretty much everything you'd need on the sales side, from the sales order, the pick, the pack, the ship, and kind of running through all of that end to end, as well as talking a little bit about our ShipRush integration. So we hope that you enjoyed the video and it taught you a thing or two about Distribution Control Center, and we hope you find some value in it and are able to utilize it in Business Central. So please feel free to reach out if you have any additional questions. If you found it useful and you'd like to see future videos like this, please subscribe below, and we look forward to hearing from you soon. Thanks, everybody.